Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today at NUGGET 2021. It's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker of the day, Nish Modi, who is the Senior Network Core Engineering Manager at HEB Grocery Company. Today, Nish will be presenting on driving observability to support key business outcomes. Nish has also been kind enough to join us live today, so if you have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to ask them using the chat section on the right-hand side of your NUGGET 2021 platform panel, and Nish will be happy to answer those as we go along. So with that, Nish, all systems are go. Take it away.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about observability and how observability can help support key business outcomes here today at NUGGET 2021, sponsored by Netreo. A little bit about myself. My name is Nish Modi. I manage the Network Core Engineering Department at HEB, part of HEB Digital. I have responsibilities spanning across owning and managing different network domains, wireless, data center practices, our store networking area, our warehouse manufacturing networking group as well. And we are spinning up a brand new department for network site reliability engineering. So having said that, we are hiring and wanted to take this opportunity to just say, if you wanted to be a part of a really great team, a great network engineering team and a company, you're most welcome to apply, and I look forward to hearing from you all. Starting off with HEB, just wanted to talk to you guys more about where I'm coming from and the enterprise that I work with today. HEB, if some of you all know, is a retail grocer. We are based out of San Antonio, Texas, and we have our mission statement, which is more centric towards customer service and then meeting the needs of our community, not just through e-commerce and grocery. It's through serving the people and the community at every facet. When it comes to business, when it comes to disaster preparedness, meeting their urgencies, healthcare, there's a lot of dimension to our business today. And this is why I kind of tend to not refer to HEB as just a grocery company. We've been doing well from an RPI index standpoint. Back-to-back years, we've been in the top 5. I think that's a lot of this is credit to the great work that the partners have done, our employees, we call them partners. And it's also a combination of all the love and support that we receive from the community here in Texas. A few kind of accolades. We've been rated very high at Glassdoor, best place to work. We are having a lot of focus towards diversity, and we've been tagged as one of the most diverse employers in US by Forbes magazine. Also, a lot of diversity and one of the best employers for women. So talking to our mission statement, here everyone belongs. Service mentality, driving towards excellence, being innovative, and committing to customer service is a great priority. So I'll start off with just talking a little more about the network. My agenda here was to talk about how Netreo helped gain some of these observability use cases for us as an enterprise. And for me, I think the whole beginning was around understanding the overall footprint for the network. We have roughly 360 plus stores today that we own and manage and support and design and engineer from a network perspective. We have roughly 18 to 20 manufacturing supply chain warehouses as well, pharmacy and health clinics, growing business. And from an e-commerce perspective, I think one of the key components for us that's driving business is our curbside e-commerce delivery business. So the idea, as y'all observe today in any specific retail industry or chain, is not only providing that service from an e-commerce online perspective, but also having and providing the customer the capability to deliver those services right at their doorstep. That's one. So curbside home delivery is a big facet of the business and will be moving forward. And providing that convenience to our customers is a top priority right now. Every retailer is going through a digital transformation. We are in the same boat. And as that's happening, our network footprint is also growing. So kind of starting off with the conversation, just high level, talking more about how Netreo was introduced in the environment. Prior to the onset of Netreo here and onboarding Netreo as a network monitoring observability tool at HEB, we had a few tools that we were leveraging, but we were still in a position where our teams were not fully using the capabilities of those tools, or the tool kind of lacked those capabilities per se from a functionality perspective. So in essence, we were running practically blind in terms of what was happening on the network and how quickly the network was spanning to meet some of our business needs, right? From e-commerce or in a home delivery perspective, even from provisioning of new apps that are going to be consumed by our customers and our partners at our stores, at our supply chain and manufacturing. So the opportunity on hand really was to, come across and test a tool, right? To make a decision which would provide us with a higher level of visibility around all of these specific use cases and how those use cases would affect the overall network footprint and performance. Onboarding included in a bunch of POCs. We ran a few POCs with different vendors, and Netreo was, I think, the vendor that obviously came ahead ahead of the curve in terms of functionality, in terms of the feature set that they provided. They also were fundamentally great in terms of a team that worked with us on understanding what our network landscape looked like, and then architecting, building a solution that was something that we could use not for the current moment, but also scale in the future. We also went with a specific support model that really helped propel the implementation in the right direction. And it kind of includes different facets, right? As you onboard any different tool, it's a combination of skill, it's a combination of learning, training, onboarding your partners, your network engineers, and then trying to challenge them to solve these problems through this venue versus punching keys on the CLI, right? Those days are disappearing quickly. And I think the onboarding experience, I feel, was a pivotal moment in us making the justification to our executives in getting approvals and funding for the tool, because the process really included us showing those results up front and allowing them to understand how we could address these use cases for the business, moving forward. Once the implementation was done, we were still not, completely ready. It was a combination of, hey, our engineers, our different departments are going to look at the tool, not only from their domain perspective, but are we going to look at this more holistically? Should we start solving the problem just for networking, or should we start solving the problem for other facets of infrastructure as well? And slowly we started gaining more traction, right? As we spoke to different business customer stakeholders, the momentum picked up, and we are looking to profile apps. We're looking to profile the network and monitoring and visibility facets of the network, and different infrastructure elements, server, compute, database as well. And that story continues. So we are doing well in terms of trajectory, and I'm proud that there's a lot more to achieve than what we have so far. So really excited about the overall prospect of the tool right now and then moving forward too. Here, the slide kind of comprises of a bunch of use cases, and these are the pivotal moments that I feel have really allowed us to present that value, connect the value of this tool to a specific business outcome and a specific outcome for the network team in terms of continuous improvement and getting better in those areas. A few examples: remote access deployment. Everybody on the call probably knows with COVID and the onset of COVID, this became a huge initiative for all organizations. And it was a challenge for us, right? Just pivoting from a full production deployment with a workforce in our corporate offices to making a decision within weeks to say, hey, everybody was going to work remotely. It posed the challenge around deploying a comprehensive VPN solution that scaled. And as that solution was built and infrastructure elements were put together, it also posed some amount of risk around different elements of the infrastructure, the WAN pipes, the ISPs that we were leveraging to run the business, the WAN infrastructure that we were leveraging to run some of our locations. So I think a lot of analysis upfront was done through Netreo. A lot of reporting and data was collected upfront as soon as these new solutions were deployed. That way we were comprehensive around our posture for remote access deployment, and we're scaling well. And this process kind of continues, right? Meeting the business outcome always has to be backed, in my opinion, with good data. And I feel that's where Netreo has done us good in allowing us to look at a problem and then making educated, calculated decisions to reach the right outcomes. A few other examples: network capacity planning. I'm sure other leaders in the network space do that too. For us, with that kind of a footprint, 25,000 network nodes that we manage as a group and growing, network capacity planning, technical sustainment becomes a big endeavor. We need to plan ahead, plan in advance, and at the same time, use the data to make decisions around budgeting, forecasting, and then meet some compliance needs as well. So reporting is a big facet of this. Besides reporting, there are some very good features around config management, incident management, compliance that we kind of use today to meet some of these business use cases. But it has really helped us get ahead the curve around planning technical sustainment and not have enough or ample technical network infrastructure debt in our space. Another challenge that recently posed as we kind of moved from a single team and broke into different facets and functions into different teams, we also implemented automated alerting and on-call. This was a game changer for us and the teams around redefining a completely different on-call model for each of the 5 engineering teams that we put together. And as that happened, we are basically looking for a full stack ownership model across each of those teams. We are bypassing tier 1, tier 2 function, and we are moving and propagating tickets and alerting directly to our level 1, level 2, level 3 engineers, which are all dissolved in those same teams. So it kind of provides us to break free from those conventional models around ITSM and call center, command center, the NOC type models, and put everything in a single pane of glass. That way we can go ahead and start using those specific alerts to make more intuitive decisions and put some action plans with good root cause analysis as well as post-mortem to get to the root cause of things versus just solving them at the surface level. So that I feel is going to be a pivotal part in us improving as these teams and charters are built, and then moving in the right direction when it comes to improving the overall charter and producing the right outcomes for the different teams' engineering perspective. We've also had different other events. We've had outages, data center outages, where we've been in a situation where we had to fundamentally scan thousands of ports to find just to find out there was a specific uptake on a specific port across a DCI link that was running errors. And that triggered a severe impact across a boatload of apps that were riding those links. These are shared links, right? So Netreo has been instrumental in allowing us to solve those problems. And as we optimize our teams to use this tool better, the idea is to keep moving forward and then challenging ourselves to say, how can we do better? How can we bring those MTTRs, mean time to recoveries down, and be more proactive around incident management? Few other examples, COVID, I mentioned one for remote access. There was another use case where, as you all know, with COVID and our e-commerce business, our home delivery and curbside business growing, and ample stress being implemented in those areas. The network had to scale in the back end too. And it really prompted us and challenged our teams to rebuild, resegment, and augment overall capacity in our data centers to meet the needs for the customers, and scale our infrastructures, our server, our compute, our applications to a scale that were more desirable to meet the new norm, COVID and post-COVID. And it has been an interesting challenge, but Netreo has done a phenomenal job in allowing us to solve some of those use cases. This one is one incident that I want to highlight, the part that we're talking about post-COVID, and I think some of the after effects of COVID. But there was a very specific event, if you all are aware, that happened in Texas, February timeframe. I think the dates are on the screen there, 13th to 17th, where we had roughly 4.5 million Texans that were stranded at their home without power, even water supplies, for a week. And it was a very tough situation, something of unprecedented volume, never happened, before, at least in my lifetime, and me being here, local Texas. And folks were not prepared. And it was one of those interesting things you're seeing on the screen. You've got one of our employees that's giving out flowers. He's cheering the crowd as people are basically waiting in line to shop at an HEB store. And this kind of speaks to the volumes of where this enterprise is going, and what the core mission statement and objective of this enterprise is. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of these that HEB has encountered historically. If I take a good run over the last few years, we've had the Hurricane Harvey that caused a lot of severe flooding in Houston, a similar situation, emergency situation where folks were stranded for weeks, months, even out of their homes. And I think HEB has done their part. COVID was another incident. This is the third one. But I provide a lot of, I would say, value to our disaster preparedness and crisis team that has been rigorously working in the back end planning for these events. So there are these tabletop exercises that they run to address, or at least be ready for these events. And as they did their part, on the network side, it was an interesting story that was brewing on our side. I apparently seem to be the only person on the network team during these times that had a internet connection and power. Fortunately, being in that segment of town where this didn't impact me. We didn't have water though. But we had daily calls with specific folks at our store level, leadership level, at our supply chain level. And I think one of the needs during the hour, tactfully, to work the situation and to work the situation, plan ahead, not only during the event, but even following the event, was to give them some live data around what was the condition around power at these stores. So I think the role that I played, having that access compared to others not having access, was providing this data around what stores had power versus not, which infrastructure elements were available during those times, during those days, and then reporting that out to our executive teams. That way they could make some decisions around supply chain management, issuing product at stores, and then even managing supplies at the warehouse manufacturing level. So Netreo definitely played a great role there. I feel without Netreo and having that single pane of glass to monitor the state of the stores and network infrastructure at stores, it would be impossible to help our business groups, at least from an IT operations perspective, and give them those valuable insights on what the state was. It allowed them to make, again, decisions, as I mentioned, is around observability, and then making some tactical, strategic decisions around keeping stores open, yes or not, right? And it all recovered. People went about following their stories, sharing their stories. There's a few other stories from an HE perspective that are pretty much available online. You're free to Google that and review. But I think events like these really test our grit and test all Texans. And I'm proud to be part of a company that has always been there for the community and the customers. And then finally, I'll close by just adding a few different things. By no means am I saying that our journey has been a great, tremendous success. I'm one of those practitioners that wants to be practical whenever it comes to problem solving, when it comes to running an operations shop. And we always want to be in this frame mind at HEB to resolve and solve for more, right? So when I look forward, right, when I look at the landscape, our vision is to solve greater challenges. Our vision is to solve for opportunities that we can't see today. Our vision is to have basically make data-driven decisions. Data is king. I think everybody's learned that from Google. And I'm going to take a leaf from that book as well. And I think we want to get into a position where we use this tool for greater outcomes. We have an SD-WAN deployment that's in the works. Our opportunity, our idea here is to go through a phase 1 implementation and then start evaluating our WAN pipes through our monitoring tool and Netreo, and then make even more precise decisions around what our posture for WAN needs to be for our 380 plus locations and sites. We also have a vision to basically have Netreo be leveraged as one of the sources of truth for network inventory as we pursue more automation and programmatic practices across our different groups. We want to work with the business and see how we can meet their observability use cases and help them support their areas more. And use IT as a medium to do that, and Netreo in the process. So how could we fundamentally challenge ourselves to understand where they're coming from and then provide them with the right necessary data from a network perspective to make those decisions, and then turn around the value for IT and turn around the value for networking, right? We spend millions of dollars every year in keeping the stack sustained, refresh the stacks, and then innovate. And I feel part of innovation also includes, allowing our leaders and our businesses to justify spend by working with business units and then allowing them to reach, broader, higher outcomes. So having said that, appreciate the time, and I'd really love to I would like to basically use this opportunity to partner with you all. Anybody that's interested, any enterprise that's interested in partnering with us and Netreo, we would like to learn from you all. And I welcome you all to learn from us as well. Thank you for your time. Enjoy NUGGET 2021.